Irina is collecting provisions for her husband, Dennis Christensen. Over 2 years have passed since he was detained in the city of Oriol.
They allow 30 kilograms each month, so I bring him whatever he asks for. He loves marzipan, so I bring him sweets made from marzipan.
It all began on May 25th, 2017, when armed men in masks raided a religious service.
About 15 OMON special forces and about 10 FSB officers burst in. We didn't know what to do or how to act, because everyone wanted to record everything, but we weren't allowed to. Dennis was arrested right there and then.
On the very next day, restrictive measures were imposed on Dennis Christensen in the form of detention.
The investigation was intensive in the case against Christensen. The investigator ordered 13 expert studies, several handwriting studies, a religious and a linguistic study, and, strangely, a psychological psychiatric study. Additionally, there were, of course, interrogations. I think around 100 people were interrogated. Their main aim was to do everything quickly and as ruthlessly as possible.
At the end of February 2018, 9 months after his arrest, the court hearing began. Dozens of fellow worshippers came to the Железнодорожный district court in Oriol to support Dennis Christensen and his wife.
In the last year, I've seen him 3 times a week in the courtroom.
Thanks to his demeanor, a positive, even joyful atmosphere prevailed at the court hearings.
For example, he showed drawings made by children that had been sent to him from all over the world. He happily accepted greetings that his friends sent him. It was obvious that he was really happy to see everyone who came to the hearings.
Thank you for supporting me. I'm very glad that you're here.
The Bible was read many times, and we read entire paragraphs from our books. We watched videos, studied the entire 2017 yearbook and all the meeting workbooks from 2017. Everything the prosecutor's office had filed as evidence was read out. We sang songs just like at the meetings. It was quite amusing.
The situation was rather paradoxical. A person is being accused of extremism, but he's displaying no hostility whatsoever, even toward those who are unjustly accusing him.
The entire court case, which lasted for almost a year, left no doubt that Dennis Christensen had not committed a single crime.
The fact is that our position, and mainly the position of Christensen himself, was to prove his innocence, and it was obvious that in reality he was innocent. But as we were in court, we had to defend our position and present evidence.
Generally, to conduct this type of case, you have to understand the essence of the person's religious convictions and why he acts the way he does. Why does he attend religious meetings? Is it because he considers himself to be a member of a legal entity? Or is it because he considers it a means of exercising his right to freedom of worship?
Here you have a crime that is punishable by up to 10 years of imprisonment, and they start trying to establish who was responsible for cleaning a building, who purchased the mops and rags for the cleaning, why Christensen unlocked the gates, and why he cleared snow. It is mind-boggling.
It was amazing that so many people came to hear the verdict. And I know that many came from other cities. From Moscow, Belgrade, Kursk, Kaluga, Елец. And those are just a few, the ones I personally met.
Суд приговорил Кристенсена Денниса Воли признать виновным в совершении преступления, предусмотренного частью 1 статьи 222 с значком 2 Уголовного кодекса Федерации, назначить ему наказание в виде 6 лет лишения свободы с отбыванием наказания с против колонии общего режима.
My husband did not deserve the verdict because he is an excellent person and has spent his life helping other people, not harming them. He has never incited anyone to violence.
The court could not name a single specific action that the accused had committed that posed a real danger to society.
In my opinion, the decision doesn't reflect the feelings of the judge himself, because to any sensible person, especially to someone who has examined the issue at stake, it is obvious that there are no extremist organizations involved here, and no extremists. And naturally, it is frightening that a punishment of this nature has been handed down to a person just for his religious beliefs. It is very harsh.
So it looks more like just an attack on a person with religious beliefs who is from a minority religion.
This unprecedented verdict handed down against Dennis Christensen has resulted in wide publicity. Russian and international organizations have called on the Russian authorities to release this believer and drop all the charges against him. Human rights advocates have described the verdict as unlawful and monstrous.
I would put it very simply. It is monstrous. Just monstrous that people are being sentenced. Not for what they have done, but for their being part of an organization, for their beliefs. This is absolutely monstrous.
I think that the court has found itself in a difficult position, because it could not prove anything extremist whatsoever. There isn't anything, absolutely nothing.
It goes without saying that this is a shameful reflection on Russia's official policy toward religion. We consider that Russia is a religious country, even more religious than European countries. So how could persecution of religious believers happen in such a country? How did it come about?
People with sincere beliefs should have the right to practice them, and obviously, they should never be persecuted for it. It is one of the most fundamental constitutional human rights.
And I consider that he won the case. He won because in court he was far more convincing and looked far better than the judge or the prosecutor. In my opinion, the judge understood this too. And it is well known that all religions become stronger as a result of persecution. Those who maintain their faith, as many of them do, become even more determined and more willing to stand up for their beliefs.
Human rights advocates, lawyers, and participants in the proceedings said the same thing at the press conference that took place in Moscow 2 days after the verdict.
It is noteworthy that Denis turned his final statement to the court into a sermon. What was the outcome? Basically, all 50 persons who were in court, including the prosecutor, the judge, myself, and the media, became participants in a religious service.
All I can say is that Jehovah's Witnesses have done nothing to deserve such treatment. Nothing that they do warrants imprisonment or charges of extremism.
My husband is a strong person and can cope. He has strong faith, so our God will support him and always help him, just as he has supported me for the past almost 2 years. The press conference that took place recently in Moscow was an amazing event, and I could never have imagined myself in the company of such well-respected individuals. After the press conference, each one of them said something nice to me, words of support, encouragement, or they related their own personal experiences about what they had gone through and how they understand how I feel.
Irina related how the thousands of letters and drawings sent to her and her husband from all over the world have been a great encouragement.
He devised a plan to hang all the children's drawings on the wall. He sewed plastic covers together and made what was like a stand, so that he could display several pictures at once. He puts up every new picture for at least a day. And when they come to inspect the cell each day, they look at the children's pictures. Dennis says he wants to tell the children that their drawings were on the wall in the detention facility. And the sheer number of letters he receives each day has stunned everyone in the detention facility, because, as they say, no one has ever received this many.
According to Irina, Dennis writes her several letters each week, and in each of them he finds words of support for her and shares encouraging thoughts with her.
Staying positive is a key to success, and we have so many reasons to be joyful. Proclaiming Jehovah's name in our city is an honor, isn't it? and upholding Jehovah's grand sovereignty is the reason for our existence. I know that our journey is a long one, and we have not won the victory, not yet, but we will eventually come off victorious. Of that, I am 100% certain.
Irina hopes that the appeal court will release her husband from imprisonment. But, in her words, no matter what the outcome, she will continue to support Denis.
It's one thing if he were there because he has murdered or assaulted or robbed someone, but being in detention for his beliefs, well, that's another thing. He is there with a clean conscience, with a positive outlook, because he hasn't done anything bad to anyone. So I have always been proud of my husband, and I still am. And I understand what an honor it is to go through it all with such dignity, and so calmly and confidently.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Jesus Christ stated that his followers would be persecuted, so it is no surprise that this has happened. We should expect it. With God's help, we can get through any trial, absolutely any, whatever form it may take.